That's one of the tactics that I've taken. Anything that negative that happens, I just take a step back and I say, that's going to be a great part of this story. Because what are the best parts of stories? When things don't go right. And then they do.
Chad Peterman here, and you are listening to Can't Stop the Growth, a platform for leaders and teams to grow and thrive. We highlight the importance of personal development, pursuing greatness, and always chasing your potential. Let's get into it.
This Law by Maxwell, to me, and I'm
excited to talk about this one
kind
today.
Of the foundation. I reread the chapter this morning, which I don't typically do. I think that as we've talked about a lot of them can get, some of them kind of build on one another. Others, are more foundational. To me, this is the foundational piece. And I don't think that it probably gets the attention that it deserves, but we're going to give it the attention today. And so today we're going to talk about the law of victory. So on the surface, the law of victory essentially means leaders find a way for the team to win. Sounds simple, right? Okay, I want to win. You're not going to talk to many people that say, you know what, I'm okay with losing. I'm okay with, not hitting my goal. I'm okay with status quo, whatever it may be. You talk to anybody, they're going to say, yeah, I want to win. Now, what does that mean? It can mean something individually to everybody, right? It could be I want to win in my personal life. I want to win in professional, whatever it may be. And so when we think about the law of victory, have you ever been on a team that just refused to lose? Hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to be on a team that was good, right? A team that, had that kind of refuse to lose mentality, was willing to do what others weren't to be successful. And I think it's important to understand what that actually entails, right? Because winning in the moment looks, feels good, right? Like winning, okay, yeah, we're going to win the game. Well, what I think a lot of people fail to realize is, what does winning represent? What does the law of victory represent? To me, and in my life, it represents all the work building up to that moment, right? It's not about that moment. I said in my email yesterday, I sat around for 3-4 hours on Sunday after soccer and watched the Masters. And I love golf, and I love watching it because it's an individual sport, and a guy is out there in front of all of these people trying not to kill them off the tee because they're standing about 5 feet from him. And on Sunday, you saw Rory come back, he wins, and he literally falls to the ground and just is like overwhelmed with emotion. After the tournament, could barely speak. And then you hear about all of these stories that led up to that. His parents working 100 hours a week. He was an only child in Ireland, came from a working class family, and his family just worked and worked and worked to hopefully provide for his golf career. And then you got to think about all the practice that these guys put in. A lot of them just think they play 4 days a week. Well, yeah, they play 4 days and then they practice and 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 they practice more. All of that work leads up to him being able to perform. And so when we think about the law of victory, it's not simply saying, I want to win. That goes without saying. What are you willing to do to win? Are you willing to outwork, outgrind, outdo everything to win? And again, everything is not life or death. But if we're truly believers in that we have a potential that we can chase, and in a lot of circumstances, we already know what the recipe is. Yes, is there things that we're going to learn along the way? Are we going to get better? Are we going to make corrections? Yeah, 100%. But if I asked you, what is winning for you this year? I'm going to guess you could write down 3 or 4 things, right? And then if I said, okay, for those 3 or 4 things, what are all the things you need to do consistently? And what are all the things that you maybe need to stop doing? My guess is you could come up with a pretty damn big list. And my guess is if you held yourself accountable to all of those things, the winning would take care of itself. And so when we think about the law of victory, for me, it brings up what we've talked about before is the Stockdale paradox. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality. That faith is the law of victory. What you're willing to do about it is the brutal reality of today. And so as leaders, when we want to embrace the law of victory, we have to first take ownership of the outcome. What's a great example of it in our industry? Well, the weather. Weather wasn't on our side. Yeah, I get it. But what are all the things that you can do to still win? How do you rally the team? Do you know how everyone on your team defines winning? Do you know what it is to win for everyone on your team? If you don't, how would you, understanding what winning is for them and you helping to get them to a win, how does that ultimately end in an outcome for you? My guess is pretty good. And the last piece is, are you solutions focused, not excuse driven? People can make up excuses all the time, right? I mean, they're pretty easy to make up. I'm really good at it. I can find one for anything. Hey, I don't want to have a drink this week during the week. Someone's birthday. I gotta. That doesn't even make sense when you unpack it. But I can make that excuse all damn day long, right? Yeah, it's a nice day outside. We had a good day at work. Yeah, nice day will get me every time. Yeah. Ooh. It's nice out. Luckily today sucks, so maybe easier to fight off the temptation. I'm hoping for bad weather. But seriously, like, we laugh because we do it on a daily basis, right? We all do. I probably did it yesterday. But is it in line with what we're calling victory? You know, the one story that I think about, and I think I've told this before, is, you know, my victory in college was I wanted to be an All-American. I got into college, found my position, was doing really well, all conference, all of this stuff. And my goal my senior year is I want to be an All-American. And I knew what I needed to do. It was pretty simple, right? But I was really good at making excuses. And so when I look back on that, when I think about this law, I was reading this chapter this morning, it took me right back to college. And it just so happened I was out at practice last week, which even further cemented, like, oh yeah, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. That wasn't a great time. And again, no one gives a shit. It was Division III football. You know, I wasn't playing on national TV or anything, but like, that was my goal. I wanted to do that. And when I look back on that senior year leading up to it, I literally tried to do everything to sabotage that. And the biggest reason was, or one of the reasons was, after my junior year, my coach left and I had a brand new coach. And so like my main excuse, I actually talked to my position coach about this last week. My main excuse was, well, it's a new defense. Like, it took me kind of 2 years to figure out the old one, and, you know, it's just new. And so like, I'm just, you know, it is what it is. And like that was my main thing. And then like that spiraled into making excuses for every other thing. I didn't eat right. I didn't watch enough film. I probably didn't train hard enough in the off season. It was just like a comedy of just feeling sorry for myself. And ultimately I didn't achieve that goal. And like, yeah, I could look back and say, oh, they overlooked me or whatever it was or whatever, but it was really just me. Like I had full control over that entire situation. And what I didn't understand is the level of work that it was going to take to do that. I thought it would just happen, right? We ever been in life where you just, well, I want to do this, so like it'll just kind of happen. Like I may make a change here or change there, but overall, I'll just kind of cross my fingers and hope that it happens and it'll be fun. Well, that's not how things work. When I think about, I'm sorry to use a lot of sports examples here, but that's kind of what I know. So I don't have any World War II knowledge. They call me dumb. I know sports. So, so Winston Churchill, Kobe Bryant. This is more my lane here. But if you ever get a chance, like, I'm sure if you type it into Google, then you'll see a bunch of videos and all the stuff about it. But if you listen to his story, and I was never a Kobe fan, right? I'm a LeBron fan, which meant that you couldn't like Kobe when they were playing. And so like, I was just like, I don't like that guy, whatever. Well, unfortunately, it took until, his passing and all of the things that came out about him and the stories. There's a new documentary coming out, I think in August, which I'm pumped to watch. But like you hear these stories, and I think it's more impactful sometimes when you hear about his will to be the best, right? And you don't hear it from like someone who doesn't play the sport. Like the most impactful things, you hear it from his peers. Like when they play on Team USA and they're like, this dude is absolutely insane. There's stories of him where he would wake up at like 4 a.m., get a workout in, and then he'd run into the rest of the team coming down for breakfast. And they'd be like, what have you been doing? I already got a workout in. I'm ready for the next one. Like just an absolute animal when it came to understanding what it took to win and then how his leadership, even amongst a group of peers. So, you're on Team USA, you're the best of the best. They picked the best, 15 guys to represent our country, and he is the leader. And you could just see as these guys tell these stories that like they were running point after him. Whatever he did, they were going to follow. There's an iconic story when they won the gold medal. And they were playing against Spain. And at the time, he and Pau Gasol, who was Spain's best player, are on the Lakers together. Like, I think they won the title that year. And so they had become close friends. If you know anything about them now, like Pau is like extremely close with, Kobe's kids and his wife and just really great friends. So they had this like great bond. Well, Spain plays the US for the gold medal, and Kobe is sitting in the locker room before the game and tells his teammates that I know what the first play is. I know what they're going to do. And I'm going to run through the middle of Pau Gasol's chest to set the tone. And his teammates are like, you're freaking crazy. Like, he's one of your best buds. Like, you're literally in 2 months, you're going to be playing on the same team. And sure enough, you watch the replay, and he literally forearm shivers Pau Gasol, knocks him completely down, and the reaction of his team is like, you hear like LeBron and Dwayne Wade and all these guys telling the story, and they're like, LeBron's exact words are, when he did that, we knew we couldn't lose. And that sticks with me so much. It's like, as a leader, we have so much power in our actions, in what we choose to do, in what we choose to hold important, in the excuses that we don't make. We have so much power in that because people are watching. People are watching to understand how important is winning to this person. What lengths are they willing to go to not only win themselves, but for the team to win. Basketball's a team sport. So yeah, like Kobe, one of the best to ever play, but like he wanted to win championships. That's a team thing. He wanted to drag his team to winning. Wanted to win. And to me, we have an opportunity in our life to win. And that doesn't mean we hit budget, we grow revenue, we do all of that. Like winning should be focused on what is it that you need to do to be your best. Where is your focus? What are you willing to do? As I thought about it this morning, I'm like, maybe I just need to make a list of all the excuses that I make in my life and just confront them. Because when you look back on a choice that you made, you had the choice not to make it as well. But if you also look back on a lot of those choices, a lot of them are rooted in comfort, seeking that comfort. When I go and have a drink on a nice day, it's because that beer tastes good, and the sun feels good, and everything feels good. What I forget about is that I could still feel good because I'm going to feel better in the morning. I'm going to be sharper. I'm going to be more focused. I'm going to be more dialed in. And it's not that having a beer is bad. I'm not going to stop, all right? It tastes good. But what do I need to do in order to be at my best when it comes to the decisions that I make in my life? When we think about the mindset of what a victory-oriented leader encompasses, there's really 4 things. Clarity of vision, so you know where you're going. You know what winning looks like. Resilience, because we are going to face those nice days outside. We are going to face the times when we wake up and we're a little bit tired. We really don't want to do something. That always pulls me back. Like there's multiple times a day when there is something that I have committed to doing and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't really want to do that right now. I really don't want to do that. What does that say about me? Maybe I ought to just do it. Should I do it? I don't really want to do it. Oh, I probably need to do it. Should I? Yep. Does anyone have this? We just go back and forth like, I don't really want to do it, but I should do it, but I don't know if I want to do it. Yep, yeah, 100%, right? But then you feel good when you do it. And you kind of feel like shit, or else you just forget about it if you don't do it. And with that clarity of vision, you begin to empower your team. Similar to my example with Kobe. Your ability to stay locked in, to fight for every win, to be the best version of yourself is inspiring. If I told you how much time I watch Kobe Bryant videos, you guys would make fun of me. So I'm not going to tell you the exact time. However, isn't that proof that his ability, I've never even met this guy. I've watched him on a TV screen. I don't even know if I've seen him play live. But his willingness, his drive and determination and clarity of what he wanted to do inspires me. Now, my guess is if someone that I've never met in my entire life inspires me, what kind of power do you have on your team? They know you. They get to see you every day. Shake your hand. See you in person. What kind of power do you think that has? What do you need to change in order to start breeding some of that inspiration? We talk about leaders are inspiring. And I think I said a couple of months ago, no, leaders are inspired. And that starts to rub off on people. Well, when we embrace the law of victory, that is when you start to see inspiration. Like, holy shit, like, I got to step up my game. I got to get going. I got to make this person proud because they're not slowing down. They're going after it. And the last piece of that is the hardest of all of them. It's extreme ownership. Are you willing to take responsibility for every single person on your team and whether they win or lose? Talk about making excuses. That's just Bill. He ain't no good. Jim. He's a rough one. No one's ever heard that ever being said, right? What does it look like to take that initial feeling? It's okay to have those feelings. That's human. But then what is it to take, Bill, he just ain't no good. You know what? Maybe I'll sit down with Bill and find out what good looks like to him. We were sitting in we meet with all the regional managers once a week. We were sitting there 2 weeks ago when they were going over the results and everything like that. And, the one piece that I was so very proud of is all of the stories. So this is, 2 weeks ago. So call it beginning of April. The meeting in January was filled with a lot of, I don't know if this guy's going to make it. He's really struggling. He hadn't bought into the process, so on and so forth. And it wasn't anything that they were doing. They were just observations, right? Hey, these guys are guys that we've got to, sit down with, we've got to work with, whatever. And then we get to April, and it was literally almost like a 180 with these same individuals. Yep. Something's got into him because he is just knocking it out of the park. He's bought in. He's super engaged, all of this stuff. Well, why do you think that is? You think he just woke up one morning and just like, you know what? Gone are the days of yesterday. I think I'm just going to start being awesome. No. That would be great if you could do that. I may try that tomorrow morning. No. It's his leaders sat down with him and we're not going to let him fail. What does that look like? Because that is the law of victory. Refusing to lose. Are there going to be times when it doesn't work out? 100%. But are there more times that it does? My guess is if you put in the effort, you're going to find a hell of a lot of success stories along the way. It's not going to be perfect. We're humans, right? There's going to be things that come up. There's going to be situations. There's going to be all of this stuff. But again, are you using it as an excuse or something to learn from? I talked about in my email yesterday about Justin Rose. If you get a chance, listen to his post-game, post-match press conference. Just listen to it. This guy just lost for the second year in a row, maybe the biggest golf tournament that they play. And if you listen to this guy, you would have thought nothing had happened. Like it's mind-blowing. Go listen to it if you get a chance. I mean, he literally is just standing there and he's just embracing what he's feeling, how he played, everything about it. He just embraces the whole thing. Does not make one excuse. He doesn't even look I think he's smiling most of the way through this interview. It was incredible. But again, he is going to win that tournament one day. And my guess is you'll point back to that interview and you'll go, it's because he's refusing to accept defeat. He's embracing it. This is just part of the process. This is just how it's supposed to unfold. This will be a great story. That's one of the tactics that I've taken. Anything that negative that happens, I just take a step back and I say, that's going to be a great part of this story. Because what are the best parts of stories? When things don't go right, and then they do. If everything went right all the time, what a shitty movie that would be. Right? Like, oh, here's Bill, he's the main character, and everything just goes right for him, and then the movie ends, and everything's still going right for him. No, every story has its ups and downs. And we are writing our own story. But the law of victory is what guides us through those tough times. What keeps us going when the times are good. Embracing the law of victory is what inspires your team. What allows them to continue to move forward. Because they're going to go through tough times too. Everyone does. But when you're focused on what you know you need to focus on, that's why leadership is simple. It's just not easy. But what are all the choices that you know that you need to make today to become the best version of yourself? And I know that sounds so like pie in the sky, best version of myself. What the hell is that? If you are intent on getting better, on doing more, on growing, that is the best version of yourself. And you get to set the barometer, and you get to determine how hard you want to work at it. There's a chance you may achieve your goals. There's also a chance you set your goals too damn low. And the latter is often true. One quick story. So we're driving to my wife and I had a disagreement. Hard to believe. But we're going to the soccer games on Saturday, and Blake really wants a snow cone. And I'm like, I do not want to get a snow cone. It's 30 degrees out here. This is stupid. So I said, all right, here's the deal. Snow cone, it's 4 goals is the price for a snow cone. It's kind of a humble brag on my daughter, but just so you know, second game didn't go so well. But anyway, I'm like, 4 goals. And Emily's like, why are you giving them something that's unachievable? I was like, well, because that's the point of setting goals. She's like, well, they're going to be disappointed. I go, not if they score 4 goals. Well, I just think that's stupid. I said, well, you can think what you want, but the price for a snow cone today is 4 goals. All right. So sure enough, I have not brought this up at all afterwards. So, and she doesn't listen to this, obviously. So, yeah, she's like, I hear you enough. I don't need to get a second helping. And sure enough, so they both play at the same time. Emily's watching Julian, I'm watching Blake, and Blake's kind of, she's kind of, whatever, out there. Julian, like literally 5 minutes into the game, he's already got 2 goals. Now he's 3. So this is not like, it's like he may have fallen into the ball and it went in the goal. All right. We're not talking, it's not his first game ever. So he's got 2. And then Blake starts rattling some off. Well, sure enough, Blake gets to 4. Julian gets 3. But Julian played good defense, so we got him a snow cone too. But I kind of looked at him like, see, if we would have set the goal at 2, I know what would have happened, because the minute that she scored the 4th goal, she was ready to quit. She's done. She's out. Peace. I got my snow cone. I'm out of here. All she kept doing was, when we get in the snow cone, I would go, focus, get out there. We still got a quarter to play. If you know her, that is not far from the truth. She's easily distracted. But yeah, so again, where are you setting those goals? Embrace victory. And when you embrace victory, understand what it's going to take to get there. It's not going to just happen. You as a leader aren't going to produce a victory by crossing your fingers and hoping everybody jumps on board and sitting there at the end of the month going, oh, I hope we didn't win. Okay. Or we did. You have the power to influence outcomes. So go take the power, Embrace the law of victory and go win. Because it's fun to win.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to connect with me personally, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and consider joining the CSTG Arena. As always, keep growing out there.